LinkedIn just doesn't work for our market. I hear that almost every single week from a person who just bought a LinkedIn Sales Navigator list, blasted it, heard nothing, and now they wrote the whole channel off. Here's the thing. It almost never is a LinkedIn problem. It's a targeting problem. They're going after the wrong companies. They skip the step that decides everything. If you work at a B2B firm that relies on long-term relationship building for sales, then keep watching. Later on, I'm going to show you the real numbers and the real campaigns from one of our agency clients who weren't even sure whether their market was on LinkedIn before they started working with us. By the end, you'll know the answer for yours before you even send a single message. Now, before you ever start any LinkedIn prospecting, there are 4 things you need to build, and you need to build them in this order. The first is a list of companies that fit your offer. The second is a list of the people inside those companies who fit your offering. The third is a heat map, so you know who's exactly on LinkedIn and who's not, because there's no point reaching out to people who never go on LinkedIn. And then out of all of that, you create a targeting database. Companies that fit with active people on LinkedIn, the ones who are worth going after for 6, 12, 24 months. Most people skip all 4 and just jump straight into blasting a lead list from LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And that just doesn't work. You're starting in the middle, and that's the mistake that shows up in 3 ways. And I'll walk you through all 3. By the third, you'll know whether your market is on LinkedIn and the real numbers and potential behind it. And here's why it's worth doing properly. When every company on that list is worth $100 or $200 or $500,000 towards your quota, and you're chasing them for a year, this removes all the confusion. You know exactly who you're going after. You know exactly how much progress you've made. So how do we know this works? Well, 1, we do it for ourselves. We use this exact system to sign dozens of clients over the last couple of years for our agency. And 2, we do it for our clients. I think at the moment we're targeting anywhere between 40 to 45,000 companies last time I checked, and we're only a team of 3. That is only possible because of the systems we've built to underline this. So we have a huge amount of data coming through every single day for every client. This isn't just theory, this is actually our day job. And by the way, if you want to grab some of the tools and frameworks we use, there's a link below this video, go grab them there. So you want to get started. What do you actually build first? Now, most people just go to LinkedIn Sales Navigator, pull a few hundred names and start firing and nothing comes back. And then LinkedIn gets the blame. Here's what actually went wrong. The list is who you found today. Nobody ever sat down and decided who you're going after, which companies you're committing to win over the next 12 months. You start with a bigger pool, 5,000 or 6,000, and you heat map it. You want to know who are the ones that are active and worth chasing. You might end up with about 2,000 to 3,000 companies over time. It could be less, it could be more. The specific number isn't important. It's you just need to know who you're going after. And I can tell exactly what decides that number because I've done it every possible way that there is. On your own, by hand, you'll be able to track maybe 30 or 40 accounts properly before it falls apart. That was me. I was trying to track as many as possible using spreadsheets and so on, and my email and notes in my phone. It's just a recipe for burnout, and it's not possible. Well-organized person, who I am not a well-organized person, can probably do this for about 2 to 250 companies max. With a system doing the research every morning and updating its CRM on its own, the 3 of us are able to target over 40,000 companies at one single time. When you build a lead list, that's who you found today. A targeting database is who you've decided to win, not just who you found. If you're looking at your LinkedIn Sales Navigator list and asking yourself the question, are these people qualified? You know you've gone wrong there straight away. Before you message anybody on the person list that you're going after, you need to know the companies. You need to know exactly who you're going after within those companies, why you're going after them, and what you're going to say to them, and when to reach out to them. It turns from prospecting, shooting in the dark, into moving in one specific direction and working a single account over time. Now the big one, will LinkedIn work in my market? It's definitely the wrong question you're asking. LinkedIn is company specific. Take one company, for example, with 5 people on the buying committee. If they're all active, posting, commenting on LinkedIn every couple of weeks, it doesn't have to be every day. That means that they're there in their inbox. Now take another company where the whole team has never logged in the last 2 or 3 years. There's nothing on their profiles. They're never there. Probably means they're not watching their inbox. So when you message them, they're not even going to see it. So you could send the same message to both of these companies and you're going to get a completely different result. And that's not because does LinkedIn work? It's, are these people active on LinkedIn so that I can message them? So what does active actually look like? Well, there's a couple of telltale signs. A filled in profile, maybe someone's bought a course from Justin Welsh or one of these people. It shows that they're believers in LinkedIn. They might be posting once or twice or 3 times a month, or typically they would say congratulations, or if they moved a new role, they want to do an announcement post, maybe the odd comment here and there. You're not looking for influencers, you're looking for real people who are just there. So here's how to answer the question, will LinkedIn work for my firm? So I'm going to tell you a story. A professional services firm, we did this exercise for a couple of weeks ago. They just weren't sure if their market was even there. So before they started working with us, they wanted to know, okay, system sounds great. How many people can we actually go after here, or is this worth it for me? So we just ran the check. We started with 5,100 companies. By the time we had found that there was only 1,700 of them with 3 people each in the company who was active going after. So that means I think it was 2 and 3 companies, something along those lines, even though they were a perfect fit, it didn't matter what message we were going to send to them, they were just not going to reply. On the flip side, we had 1,700 active best fit companies that we could go and target over the next 6, 12, and 24 months. Now, bearing in mind a contract to this company was worth over $400,000, it means that LinkedIn works for them. And if that number had come back at 200 instead of 1,700, I probably would have just given them the list of the 200 and said, it probably doesn't make sense to work with us for this. There's no point building outbound on LinkedIn if the people just aren't there. And if your agency can't tell you whether they are there or not, and I don't mean just with a LinkedIn Sales Navigator list, it means they don't know. You shouldn't be just guessing, does LinkedIn work for my company? You should know. You should know if the people are there. You should know what the message is. So you just need to build that heat map, and the answers are all there in front of you. You just have to get the data. Okay, so you got the companies, you got the heat map, you know the people are there. We're down to 1,700 in the last story I just told you. A couple of weeks back, I got on a call with a company that we had been tracking for the last 7 months. They were showing a lot of signals. They had 3 signals that showed up on one of their targets at the same time. They just hired a new outbound business development manager. It was a CEO change earlier in the year, and their team were posting pretty actively on LinkedIn. They also did a podcast. So you could tell here there was a bit of a story coming together. They're clearly in growth mode. So we don't just use signals to say, okay, be super direct and say, okay, so you posted a job, can you hire us instead? We're using all these signals to tell a story. I have another video on that later, but let me just explain this little story here. So we actually reached out to their new CEO with a pretty simple offering. We had pre-built a lead list for them of companies who we knew they wanted to target because, again, the data was very much available. We pre-built it, sent it to the CEO. He passed me through to the head of strategy. The head of strategy responded to my email straight away. We booked a call within 24 hours, and within another 48 hours, this campaign, the initial campaign that we had running was live. All because the signals told a story and told us timing of when we should reach out. Booking the call, writing the scripts was very easy because we had the timing right and we knew the story to tell. It also worked because we're not just treating the company as one person. They're part of a team. You're not selling to a company, you're selling to 4 or 6 people. The economic buyer is one person and they make the final call. Often the CEO in a smaller company is typically the hardest to reach. The champion, which is the term that we use for the person who we want to get in contact with initially, they're typically a middle manager, or there could be a head of or director. They're probably the sweet spot. They've got the buyer's ear and they'll move the deal for you because it's in their interest to move you forward, assuming that you're going to deliver on what you say. The influencer then is a bit further down the chain and they help shape the decision because they're probably going to be the end user of the tools or services that you're providing. So we opened up all those conversations, tracked them. 3 real track conversations in one account beats 10 CEOs you've blasted and burned through. You might sign one of them that way, but there's no long-term sustainability in it. The standard is that you don't blast all 4 at once. Same as if you're meeting people in person. You reach out to one first, you have a real conversation, and you bring that conversation to others off the back of it and reference it. Say, I talked to John last week about X, thought I'd reach out to you about Y. Now, if I can leave you with one thing, whether your number of the amount of companies you're targeting is 500 or 5,000 or 50,000, it's not about the size of your team. It's about the system that you build underneath it to do it for you. As I said earlier, 3 on our team track over 40,000 companies between ourselves and our clients. Now, that is not humanly possible. That's only possible because the machine that we've built does the heavy lifting. Now, if you want to start using some of the tools and frameworks that we use in our business to do this work, click the link below and you can grab them there. Now, that's the foundation, your targeting database. The right companies, the right people inside them mapped before you ever send a message. Here's the catch. Even with that list built, only about 3 to 7% of those companies are ready to buy right now. If you go and message 100% of them today the same way, you'll probably burn through the list just like you are doing already. This video explains who to go after. The next one explains when. Which companies to go after this week and why. That's signals. Watch it now.